Hi folks, so in this video what we're going to be doing is a question from the 2016 Ordinary Level Section B question 2, and it's a question based on the topic of orthographic projection and auxiliaries. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in on that there now. So it says in the question, the graphic on the right shows a cooker hood made from copper. It says figure B2 below shows an isometric view of the hood, and you can see the B2 is this one down here, and it's giving us all the information. And then we have to part A, draw an elevation of the structure in the direction of the arrow, and we can see the arrow is looking in the elevation, looking at the front of it. And then part B, draw a plan projected from the elevation, and part C then draw an auxiliary elevation of the structure projected from the plan, which will include the true shape of the surface A, and they indicate the surface A to us right down here. Okay, so that's what we have to start with. And as always, what you have to do first of all is obviously kind of decide where you're going to position your elevation on your sheet, and then obviously your plan is going to go underneath that. And the reason it's important where you position your elevation is because you have to leave space for the auxiliary elevation later on. Now for the auxiliary, we're going to be looking in the direction of the face A here. So if you imagine there was a person positioned, I put it here now, the little person is positioned in that position, and to see the true shape of the structure they have to look straight at the face, perpendicular to the face A. So our face A is inclined at an angle of 30 degrees down here. In a previous question you can see it's very similar. This angle, if that's 30, we've got a 90 degree angle here, and then that makes this angle in here 60. Okay, so that's the little tricky bit there, is getting that inclination there. And using that, essentially we're going to be projecting, we're going to have an x1, y1 projected off to the right hand side of our object. So when I'm doing my drawing, I'm going to start off with the elevation here, 130 long, and then 15, 55 is 70, plus 20 is 90 high. So that's what I'm going to start off with. And I've positioned my XY line on the left hand side of my page, elevation plan, because on the right hand side over here is going to be my auxiliary. So that's what I'm going to start off with there now. So starting off with a line 130 long on the XY line. I'm also going to mark, while I'm at it, the middle of that 130, which would be 65, just to have the middle marked. So construction line, 90 millimeters high, roughly. I'll put in this construction line in a minute actually, and mark up the 90. So 2 up to 11 will give me 90. So the maths there. Now everything, my elevation, has to fit inside of that rectangle there. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the various heights. I have 15, 55 and 20 as well. So 15, 55 and 20. So marking down from the top, I could also do it 20 down from the top, and then another 55 down, which will leave me 15 left over. So while I have those heights put in, I'm going to put them going across there like that, and then I'm going to put in my center line as well. Okay, so there's my center line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to input any relevant measurements that are, I suppose, for the drawing. So first of all, I have the 15 done, I have the 55 done, and I have the 20 done. So any other lengths that I have here now, I've also got a 40 here, so I'm going to assume then it's going to be 40 on the opposite side. And you can see here at the back as well, I've got a 20, and it's from the middle, so it's going to go 10 to the right and 10 to the left. So I'm going to go 40 and 40 on two sides, and then I'm going to go into the middle and mark 10 and 10 to the left and right. And I've also got from the middle here at the front, you can see it's 50 long. That means therefore from the middle it's going to be 25 to the right and 25 to the left. So I'm going to put in some of those now. So the 40, I'm going to mark in from here. That's actually showing me where the 25 is already, so that's perfect. I could mark the 25, which will leave me 40 left over. Yeah, happy with that. So there's my little marks there. So 40 in, 40 in. Then from this line here, I'm going to mark 10 left and 10 right. 10 and 10. So I put those in there. That'll connect there like that. This one will connect there like that. Okay, so I can start to heavy in a little bit of information now that's relevant to the drawing. Starting to identify the structure. And here is our slope surface at the front. There we have it. That there is almost completed front view, or the elevation view of the structure. The bit that I'm missing is this edge here and this edge, because we're not given a length for that structure there at the front. It's going to be somewhere just outside here. So from this point it's a little bit out to the right, and from this one a little bit out to the left. I cannot actually complete that just yet, because I'm going to have to find those points in the plan view when I do in this angles line here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the plan view now. Now for the plan, it's the same length that we're working with, 130. We've obviously all our various individual lengths put in here, the 40, the 40, and then the 2 10s for the 20 there. But we also have to work with our depth as well, okay, or sometimes known as your width. And you can see that the width of the object is 60. So that's the measurement I want to measure out for my plan. So starting off, I'm going to project any measurements I have from the elevation straight down. Any lengths. Center line down. And then for the plan, I'm going to pick a random distance, usually anywhere from 10 to 15. Mark there. And from that point then, I'm going to mark the 60. Because you always want a gap between your views. So, project this across. This across. Okay. Now that I have that done, I'm now going to put in that angular line here. Okay, even though it says 30 degrees there, we can work out that the angle is 60 degrees when we're using our set square, and it's going to be 60 degrees to the opposite side. So I'm going to get in that angular line now. So it'll come from here, 60 degrees like this, and then on the opposite side, 60 degrees as well. You can see there, I've done that now. So with that done, I actually want to heavy in a little bit of it. Heavy in the front section. Heavy in the back. And side. Now that I have that done, you can see here I have now determined the length of the front from here to here. So now that I've found it in the plan, I can bring it back up to the elevation. And I can now heavy in this portion and this portion. Okay, so that's the elevation now fully completed. I just have to complete the plan. Looking down on top of the plan, you can see this 20 wide structure here, but you can also see that it comes out 15, and then this bit here at the front comes out 50. So I have to put in those two measurements there now. So from the very, very front, I forgot to bring down two lines actually. That will just come down as far as there. That one as far as there. I'm going to mark down 15 millimeters on this one. So from the back, mark down 15. And on this line over here, because that's in line with this edge, I'll mark out 50. There we have object completed. Just a case of heavying it in. vertical line, this one, this one, this one. Then I'll get the horizontal lines here and here. And the lines then that we're missing, just a note, we've obviously drawn in this rectangle here, which we can see there. We've drawn in the rectangle here, which we can see down here. And the lines that we're missing is this line connected from here to here, so from the corner of this rectangle to the corner of this rectangle, and so on. So I have to connect from here over to here to put in that sloping edge. There to there. Okay, and there we have the elevation and the plan view of the structure completed. I'm now going to identify the surface A in my elevation, which we can see there, and then the surface A in the plan view, we don't see the face of it, but we see it as a line, otherwise known as an edge view of the structure. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to write in a little arrow in there identifying it. Okay, so that is part A done, elevation, and then the plan completed. Now what we're on to is the part C. Draw an auxiliary elevation of the structure projected from the plan, which will include the true shape of the surface A. So when we're drawing an auxiliary, okay, it's very important to note that an auxiliary is essentially just another view, but it's not looking directly at the front of it, the side of it, or the top of it. In an auxiliary, we're looking at an angle to the object, and in this case, the angle is specific to the surface A. We can see that the surface A is this, if I just zoom out there a little bit, is this surface over here. And we've already determined if this angle is 30 degrees, this angle is 60. That angle, that line there, as I said, is a 30-degree line going downwards, but a 60-degree line going upwards. So it's at that angle. Our x1, y1, okay, like we had an xy line over here, our x1, y1 is going to be parallel to that, and we're going to project perpendicular to get the surface A. But then we're going to have to get the whole structure, but obviously to include the surface A. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there now. So on my sheet, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an x1, y1 parallel to the edge view of surface A, which is at 60 degrees as I showed you here. So using my t-square and set square together, I'm going to bring it out to about here, and thinking of where that's going to fit inside, to about here I think it's appropriate, to about there. And just make sure that I have to go a little bit higher actually. And yeah, that's appropriate there. So I'm going to call that my x1, and just make sure it fits in at the bottom. Yeah, happy with that. y1. That is called my x1, y1. So now what we're going to do is we are going to project all the lines perpendicular to our x1, y1. So if that line there was at 60 degrees, my x1, y1 perpendicular to that would be 30 degrees going like this. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to project up every point on the object. This one here is only going to go to a certain height. I know the heights that I need for the various points. So you can see every line is projecting up at an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, then this line here, up a nice bit like that. And you'll see in a minute why I'm after bringing these ones just a little bit higher. Okay, so as you can see, I'm after bringing, like we did with the elevation where we brought all the lines down, I'm after bringing any relevant point to the object all up perpendicular to the x1, y1. Now, rule of thumb when you're doing auxiliaries, in whatever view you're projecting from, you have to take the heights from the next view back, okay? So if you think of it, here's our x1, y1, we project from here, we're going to take our measurements from up here. So, essentially, project from the plan, take your heights from the elevation, because we're drawing another auxiliary view of an elevation, which includes heights. If we were to draw it, if it was projected from the elevation, then we would take the distance from the XY line down. So project from the plan, take your heights from the elevation. Project from the elevation, take your depths from the plan. Okay? So, if I want to find the surface or the true shape of surface A, I can see that surface A is on this point here, which is projected up here like this, and this point here, which is projected up here like this. And I can see that surface A has a point on the ground and the ground. So that means if I follow it out, there's one point on surface A, and there is another point. Just make sure I have the right one. Yeah, right there on surface A. Then I have to take the heights for here. Now I could measure them by just measuring up 15, or I could take my compass, take that height right there, my compass, come over here to the elevation, mark that height. As you can see, I've just marked it there. And now what's very handy for me, rather than marking it up along this one, because the height is going to be the same, I can use my t-square and set square. In this case, sometimes you might have to do slide and set square depending on the angle. So a line down like that. Just going to put that in nice and heavy there. And that there is going to identify to me the true shape for surface A. Okay, so I'm just going to write that TS, standing for true shape of A. True shape of A is in this structure right here. Okay, so that's that structure done. However, we have to get the rest of the object. So I'm going to refer back to the sheet here now. So if you look at this little stick man here, there's portions of this object that they can see. We've already got the surface A there completed, so after drawing that, and we get the true shape of that because the person or the stick man is looking perpendicular to it, looking directly at it, so he can tell the exact length from it, from left to right, and the exact height from it. He would also though see a little portion of this face, not the true shape of it anymore, but they would see a portion of it. They would also then see this face here, a little portion of this face, I assume this face, and this face as well. So they're the other four faces, four faces we're going to have to get. We're going to have to get this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. They would not see the back face, okay? They would not see the back corner. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So to get that face here at the front, okay, I have to just note where the front is. Just go in there a little touch, just about there. Just to get that face at the front, that's the front of my face. Okay, and it's at the exact same height as the surface A. So from there you can see it comes out to here, which is going along this line here. So if I bring down the height from surface A, that there is the front face. Okay, so that's as wide of the object I can see from here out to here when I'm looking in that auxiliary view. Now what I have to do is I have to get this face here and this face. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with this face right here first of all. Okay, and you can see that this height up here is a height of 15 plus 55 is 70. So I'm going to have to take that from my sheet. So the 70 height, I'm going to get my compass. I'm going to take it from here, XY line up, that height right there. I'm going to come down to this point right here. This point right here. I'm going to follow that one up until it gets to here. And then I'm going to mark it like that. Now once again, I would also have to mark it for this one. So you can see here if I followed it out, get that, could mark it there. And I also have this one as well that I see, follow it out, and mark it here. Now technically I didn't need to do all three of those there. What I simply could have done was, once I had the first one, I could have done an angle of 60 degrees between them like that, and you can see they're all at the same height. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to heavy in that face there. The next point I need to find is this one here, which is actually at the height of 15. You can see it's only up that height. So if I follow that out, that's that point there. Because I know that one connects to here. I want to find this one next. Just make sure I have the right line. There's that one. Okay, so that point there will connect to here. As I said, I'm just building it up face by face. This point here, connects to here. Heavy in this bit now. So there's that first face. And then I know it does heavy over as far as there. And that connects down. If I just see here, I've done that first face. Now I have to get this face here. And I've already got this edge. And I've heavied in this edge as well. Because you can see I've heavied it in over here. Just as far as there. Now that point there will connect to here. So if I follow that out, it connects right to there. There we go. Now we've got that face. Now the last structure we have to get is this top one here, which is coming from this height over here. So I'm going to take that height as well and measure it from the same points. So there's the height of 90 altogether. And I'm going to measure it out along this one again. Just have my lines high enough. And this time, I'm just going to put it in like this. Bring the height line across and start heavying in the relevant information. Now that I kind of have the side faces done, I know exactly where I have to heavy up from. I want to heavy in this one, and here's the front face of it, that little chimney portion on the hood, and heavy in this. And there you go. There is the auxiliary view of our structure. However, we're not completed. If you left it at this point in the question, you would lose out marks for not putting in hidden detail. Okay, so important to note when you just refer back here, even though we're after drawing in the surface A, this front surface here, we're after drawing in this surface, this one, and this one, there is other surface on the drawing. What's important to note, if I start off with this one here, even though we don't see this back face, it doesn't mean that there's not a definitive corner back here. If you imagine that was going down like that and it was connecting over here and obviously connecting around to the back as well. And there was a line running there. Now, just because I don't see that back face in there doesn't mean it's not there. So anything that is there but we can't see it, we have to put in any edges that are visible in hidden detail or that are not visible in hidden detail. So I need to find this edge here to heavy it in as hidden detail. There's obviously also then, if you continue on these lines here, ever so lightly, this edge here would run down at the back, maybe at an angle, from, just find that there now, apologies, probably going at some form of an angle, and then it would connect out here to the front. So that line there, I'm going to have to get that one as hidden detail as well, and I assume this line is hidden detail, because I don't see these back surfaces as well. So hidden detail, hidden detail, hidden detail. I need to find those. So the first one I need to find as hidden detail is this one here. I followed up from my plan. So that little bit in there is going to in as hidden detail. That's identifying to me that back edge. So from here to here is this face. Okay. Now the one that I also need to get for hidden detail is this one to this one. So I'm going to find this point. If I follow it up, that's where that one is. Okay, and it connects up to this point up here, which is this one. So that's going to be hidden detail first of all, going from there to there, and then hidden detail going from here down to here. Okay, just checking if I need any more. No, I think that's pretty much it. And there you have it, guys. That is the drawing completed, where we completed our elevation view, then we completed our plan view. In the plan view, it was important to note these 2 points and how I found those by getting this inclined line here, and I brought them back up to the elevation to determine the front surface here, because they didn't give us that information straight off. And then after we got our elevation and plan completed, we set up our x1, y1. We got the true shape of the surface A, okay, and it's out as far as here as we can see, okay, and then we completed the overall structure at the top, and then at the very, very end we put in any relevant information in regards to hidden detail. Okay, so that's the question done there, guys. I hope you found that helpful. Okay.